Focused and fearless, here's everything you need to know this rush hour of June 19, Wednesday. I'm Riza Diaz. We start off today's rush with some lawmakers urging President Duterte not to flag outright the country's weakness. Instead, Duterte is being implored to take advantage of the Philippines' existing mutual defense treaty with its longtime ally, the United States. Mayan Los Baños has the report.
Senator Ping Locsin was disappointed with President Duterte's statement in so-called maritime incident between Filipino fishermen and Chinese nationals at the Recto Bank. Locsin found the statement weak and seemingly defeatist.
But really, it's really heartbreaking to hear from the President na finally, after 1 week or more than a week, nagsalita siya, tapos ganun pa yung marinig natin. If we're weak, we should not advertise our weakness. Does it make sense to you? Lalo tayong ibubuli.
Locsin calls the current approach to apparent Chinese bullying in the West Philippine Sea ineffective. So he suggests exploring the possibility of invoking the Mutual Defense Treaty between our country and the U.S.
Yung mere presence of portion man lang ng Pacific Fleet, US Pacific Fleet, should be enough to project a balance of power within the West Philippine Sea. So hindi pwedeng mag-iisip-isip din yung China na basta na lang mambuli ng mga Filipino fishermen or mga miyembro ng ating Coast Guard or ng Philippine Navy.
The senator is also confident that tapping the MDT will not result in war against China, contrary to Duterte's warnings.
And when we call on the United States to abide by the provisions of the Mutual Defense Treaty, it is not praying for World War III. No two superpowers would want to go to war, because it is devastating.
Senator Franklin Drilon says the focus should be on the Chinese crew's abandonment of the Filipino fishermen after the collision, not whether the collision itself was accidental. Drilon says leaving the fishermen in distress is a clear admitted violation under the United Nations Maritime Law, the violation the government should press. Senator Kiko Pangilinan says the president appeared more in favor of China than the local fishermen, asking whether Duterte's statement was actually the stance of Chinese representative or agency. Senator Risa Ontiveros echoed Pangilinan, juxtaposing the president's response to the Recto Bank hit-and-run incident to inflammatory actions and statements Duterte has made towards women, the poor, and democracy advocates. Reporting for News 5, Mayan Los Baños, we are One News.
To fast-track progress on the Recto Bank incident, palace officials are considering a joint investigation with China. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles had announced that several government agencies were already tasked to provide assistance to the distressed crew of FB Jember. Agriculture Chief Manny Piñol was assigned to lead the government's response, assisting the 22 affected fishermen. Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi who has since earned ire of the crew for his "Daplis lang" comment, was also ordered to help. Several agencies are now trying to determine the extent of the liabilities involved and find legal means for the fishermen to obtain justice. But now it seems Palace is open to additional party to the probe.
So, it's possible. It's one of the options. Kaya nga po, ang magiging proseso po nito, nandyan po yung ating diplomatic protest. Hintayin po natin ano yung magiging reply ng China. Then we will work from there. So, nung naibanggit nga ni Pangulo sa kanyang statement, hintayin natin yung China, it is in the context na nandyan po yung ating diplomatic protest. And as far as the diplomatic procedures and protocols are concerned, we have to wait for the reply of China. After China makes the reply, when it does make a reply, then we will proceed with whatever options are open to us.
Meanwhile, presidential spokesperson South Panelo confirmed that the palace will not summon Chinese Ambassador Zhao Jinhua. Panelo explained that Malacanang cannot summon Zhao since, according to him, the Philippine government has no jurisdiction over the ambassador. Instead, Panelo said that they will be waiting for the result of China's separate investigation before making any move.
We're not the government of China to summon an official of China. The word is invite. But we feel, or the president, I think, is not inclined to do that because ang feeling niya talagang unang-unang ginagawa na nila. May statement na si Ambassador about seriously and cautiously studying the facts.
The ASEAN Summit in Bangkok is set to commence this weekend. Now, with the Recto Bank collision still making headlines, the question is, will President Duterte raise the issue? Dale De Vera will tell us the details.
This weekend, leaders are set to attend the ASEAN Summit in Thailand. A recent topic that has likely gotten their attention is the collision between a Filipino boat and Chinese vessel in the disputed waters. The Philippines is the country coordinator for ASEAN-China dialogue this year, but it remains unclear if the maritime incident will be raised in the final document or if President Duterte will discuss it with other ASEAN leaders.
It's a very important issue, but I don't think the summit is the best venue. Is the best venue to discuss that issue.
The Recto Bank collision was not mentioned in the draft copy of the 53rd ASEAN Chairman's statement that this reporter saw, though the draft statement gave importance to maintaining peace, stability, and security in the disputed territory, as well as a 2002 declaration on the conduct of the parties in the South China Sea or DOC. But the highlight of paragraphs 41 and 42 of the draft communique points to the efforts to complete the first of 3 readings of the Code of Conduct in the South China Sea or COC before the year ends. The draft chairman's statement also highlighted the successful testing of hotline of ASEAN member states and China to watch over the activities in the South China Sea. Former Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano says there is a need to create a new agreement between the Philippines and other claimant countries in order to prevent incidents like the Recto Bank collision from happening again.
So we have to have a framework and a agreement on how to cooperate para hindi ito mangyari, no? Pero kung ihahalo-halo natin to, ija-jumble natin to sa mga disputes na nangyayari, kawawa yung mga next group of fishermen.
For News 5, Dale De Vera, we're One News.
Meanwhile, here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Philippine Star reports that Foreign Affairs Department has raised the ramming incident at the Recto Bank to the United Nations. Speaking at the 25th anniversary of the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea, DFA Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin says International Maritime Organization or IMO member countries have the responsibility of rendering assistance to those distressed at sea. While no sanctions are imposed under the international law, Locsin says protecting life at sea should be a concern. Locsin delivered a speech in New York hours after President Duterte downplayed the sinking of FB Gemver. Meanwhile, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency clarified that strawberry meth, a candy-like drug, has not entered the Philippines. However, the agency still advised parents to remain vigilant. That's because children are the supposed target of the drug. The Freeman reports that PIDEA is set to visit schools next week to educate students and parents about the dangerous effects of illegal drugs. And the DOJ and the Securities and Exchange Commission have filed a criminal complaint against the officials of Kappa Community Ministry over an alleged investment scam. Filipino Star ngayon reports that the case against Kappa founder and President Joel Apolinario and several others was based on the organization's practice of collecting supposed members' donations for as low as 10,000 pesos for a 30% monthly interest or blessing. Kappa Ministry denies the allegation but says they are welcoming the investigation to prove their innocence.
Actually, matagal na po namin sinasabi na mag-file na po yung SEC para masagot na po namin yung mga allegation na ibinibintang po nila sa Kappa. Welcome po kami dyan, sir. Naniniwala po ang aming founder, Joel Apolinario, na wala naman po kami ginagawang masama.
Time now to check on today's weather. Caraga and Davao region will again experience scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. That's still because of the Intertropical Convergence Zone or the ITCZ. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience generally fair weather, but localized thunderstorms are still possible, especially in the afternoon and evening. Rain, however, is obviously not enough to increase the water level in Angat Dam, where Metro Manila sources out its water. And as water level in the dam nears critical level, Manila Water and Maynilad have started implementing water service interruptions. The full schedule of these interruptions will be released today.
nighttime, off-peak sana ang aming tinatarget na mawawalan ng supply para naman hindi masyadong apektado yung kanilang daily activities. Nag-iiba-iba naman po ito, depende dun sa lugar. Meron pong magkakaroon na ng tubig as early as 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. Meron din naman pong mawawalan ng service as late as 10 p.m.
20% nito ay siya yung magiging severely affected, kung saan maaaring nasa 8 oras lamang yung supply window. Yung 50%, mga roughly between 9 hours to 16 hours sila may tubig. Definitely ito yung mga matataas na lugar namin at saka yung malalayo doon sa aming network.
Facebook has officially joined the blockchain race. That's after it introduced its very own cryptocurrency on Tuesday. Facebook has introduced Libra, a new global currency which will be available for all of its social media platforms and in a standalone app. The social media giant explained that Libra aims to solve problems of accessibility, especially with the unbanked sector across the globe. The Libra network is set to roll out in 2020. But even before the start of its operations, the project was met with immediate backlash from global policymakers. That's because, according to them, Facebook is already too big and too powerful and has already used its power to exploit its users. In turn, Facebook has engaged with U.S. regulators to clarify the issue. The 2019 Tour de Filipinas completed its 5-stage race on Tuesday, and Carla Pamintuan will tell us who emerged victorious in the 10th year of the race.
Running low on stamina after the tough grind in the first 4 days of the 2019 Tour de Filipinas, the cyclists dug deep and powered their way through the last 138.1 kilometers of Stage 5. The course passes through Daraga, Pilar, Donsol, Pio Duran, Ligao, and Kamalig before circling back to Legazpi City. Stage 5 starts with a king of the mountain phase that was once again dominated by Filipino cyclists as Ismael Grospe of Go for Gold Continental came in first, followed by Junrey Navarra of the Philippine national team. Climbing specialist John Mark Camingao, also of the Philippine team, came in at third. An 8-man lead group broke away from the peloton featuring Navarra, Dominic Perez of 7-Eleven Click Air 21 by Road Bike Philippines, and Jay Lucero of Go for Gold Continental. They were alongside 5 international cyclists, including Stage 2 winner Mario Vogt of Team Sapura Cycling and Stage 4 winner Jesse Coyle of Team Nero Bianchi. Navarra broke away from the pack and gathered steam. Unfortunately, he suffered a punctured tire which cost him the lead as he was absorbed back into the group. Stage 2 winner Vogt struggled to deal with the quickness of the Asian cyclists on the curves. But the last stretch of Stage 5 featured a mostly straight downhill ride. This was when he pushed on the advantage, using his size to be the only 2-stage winner of the entire competitions. Perez, meanwhile, became only the 3rd Filipino podium finisher in this year's edition of Tour de Filipinas. Mod Samri Saleh of Terengganu INC TSG came in at 3rd.
Dominic Perez and Jay Lucero. However, the Filipino riders slowed down just a little bit before the tail end, and now they will be crossing the finish line as well.
Vogt's Stage 5 victory, however, was not enough to overcome the advantage of Stage 1 winner Jerome Myers, who cruised his way to the top of the Air 21 individual general classification, followed by Chun Huat Go of Terengganu INC TSG, while Angus Lyons of Oliver's Real Food Racing came in at 3rd. From Legazpi City, Albay, Carlo Pamintuan, We Are One News.
And that is how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.